Okay, December 14th. December 14th, 1799, former President George Washington passes away at his estate in Mount Vernon. On December 12th, he had gone out and worked on his farm and came home and was wet and cold, had wet clothes, and they had guests over, so he did not want to make them wait while he took the time to change and to dry up. Next day, he had complained of a sore throat, but still went out and worked on his farm. But by that evening, the throat was really bothering him. So he ordered somebody in the house to basically take a pint of blood. It was very common practice at the time to bleed of patients. It was believed that whatever was causing the problem was in the blood, and they could get some of the blood out. The new blood that was being generated would kind of help. So it didn't. He got worse, and more doctors were called. More bleeding took place, and he passed away on December 14th. Historians disagree on what caused or what he was causing the sore throat, as to why there's a couple of theories, but in terms of what exactly was causing the sore throat. But most of them agree that he bled to death, that they took too much blood, and that is what caused his death. So he's buried at Mount Vernon with his wife Martha, who died a few years later, and there was some talk about moving him to Washington, D.C. In 1820, when the Capitol was rebuilt after it had been burned by the British in the War of 1812, a crypt was built with the idea that we would bury our leaders there and have this kind of mausoleum going on in Washington, D.C. But the family and the Southern politicians were very opposed to burying George Washington outside of Virginia, and certainly not in the North. So he stayed in Mount Vernon. And one of the things that's remarkable is this is the man who led us through the American Revolution and who led the country and set many of the norms of the presidency. You know, things like a simple title like Mr. President. He didn't believe in these big, grand titles. That he's serving 2 terms. Everything he did, he knew he was setting precedent, and many of them precedents still exist today. So it's remarkable, and is he never lived to see that. One of the remarkable things, which was the peaceful transfer of power in 1801 from John Adams to Thomas Jefferson. Because these were 2 very different parties, and that peaceful transformation was something that had really never happened in the world, except through war. So anyway, that's what I have for you today. 1799, President George Washington passes away. I will see you tomorrow.